course, and they've played many majors, championships there before.
Right.
So I think the guys that have been at the top at the British and the U.S. are going to be well prepared for this. I don't think anything is going to be a surprise or really a challenge for them in terms of, the difference in courses that they normally play. Because, again, they've played pretty much two majors. It's two majors in a row with the exact same style.
Right. So I thought that kind of would, hold some promise for, like you said, for us seeing kind of the usual suspects atop the leaders board. I know going back to the British, we had an amateur that was able to, I think he was atop the leaders board on the third day or going into the fourth.
He was leading. He took the lead on the third round.
Right.
Going into the final round.
Right. So, I don't know, man. You want to get into your breakdown? Who do you think will be vying for the championship this week? I'm going to just jump out there really quickly with totally no background on it. I think I'm pulling for, I'd like to see DJ do well since he got out to a hot start over in the British Open and kind of, fell apart a little bit on the third and fourth day. I'm going to go with him, and maybe as my number 2, I probably would take Bubba Watson because I believe he won this event back in 2010, maybe?
I believe. I have to, you know what? I'm not sure which year it was.
Recently, though.
Yeah, I believe you are correct. For me, I think the guy to watch is going to be, of course, Jordan Spieth. Dustin Johnson. I have a good feeling about Ricky Fowler. I think he's going to come out and play well. Obviously, I'm always pulling for Tiger because it's good for golf if he's back to where he's at. I think we're kind of at a point in golf where we have the guys I just spoke of, and your Bubba Watson, that are kind of the leading pack of guys that you think are going to be there, and realistically after that it's really anyone's game. I think for someone who really loves the game and follows it like myself, you truly appreciate the talent level beyond those top guys because they're all unbelievable golfers, and it allows anyone to win at any time. It just takes
right.
It's like I compare it to a playoff run. It just takes you the right time to get hot. And if your time is during a major or those 4 days of the week, anyone can pull out the victory. I think Zach Johnson's going to be right up there. I think he's playing off a lot of confidence and momentum, similar style course. So I think those are going to be the top guys, to make the moves.
All right. Now, like I said, I'm probably a friend. I might not even qualify as a fringe fan or a fringe watcher, but just a personal question. Do you think that's kind of one of the, it's one of the downsides or down points about golf is that for American sports, right now, looking forward to next year's NBA and NFL seasons, I can pretty much tell you who the division winners are. I could tell you who's the top. I could probably tell you all 16 teams in the NBA playoffs. I could probably tell you over half of the playoff teams for the NFL. Baseball is a little tricky, but it kind of still has its regular cast of, division winners every year. And it seems like once we get into the individual sports such as tennis and golf, especially and even more so in golf, your leaders week to week can just change so much. So do you think that's kind of one thing that kind of factors in that people just kind of checking in and if my guy is up there, then maybe I tune in? Or are a lot of golf fans, do you just watch it to see great golf being played, some things to add to your game, what equipment you might, want to look into? What's a real golf fan what's going on there with, in terms of following golf week to week?
Well, for me, I just, growing up with the game, I love watching it. So I'll watch any tournament just to watch, the great golf and the shots played. And sometimes you get a sneak peek at some new equipment that's not out yet, so that's kind of neat as well. But I think something that, as you alluded to, is it's easy to kind of figure out who's in the other playoffs or the other sports. And I think it's because, it's more of a team event, so a city or a state can rally behind a team. But I think the downfall and where golf and even tennis needs to kind of pick up the slack is just the marketing and publicity of their players. I think the more you get their faces out there and in things other than Bridgestone commercials because it's a golf ball in the tire, or a Nike commercial because Tiger and McIlroy are on your staff, I think they need to venture out into more of the public eye and get more familiar. Another big thing I think is for the avid, fans or the occasional watchers is the Ryder Cup and the President's Cup. I think the U.S. has struggled pretty much forever.
Right.
In that particular avenue of winning. And we watch from the World Cup. I compare it to that. It's probably the only team sport that's like golf where you have a strict fan base and it's the people who play and have followed it, and then the others only tune in for like a World Cup event. But the momentum and the rally and the fan base is huge then. And I think if the U.S. could kind of market that atmosphere during a President's Cup or a Ryder Cup, I think it would help people start to follow golf more because you're starting to recognize different players. Because they do a FedEx or a Ryder Cup point system, so different players get in. It's not always your Tiger Woods or your Phil. So I think that's a push that the U.S. really has to get out there. The PGA does to get those guys on the Ryder Cup. Get everyone excited, take it a little more seriously, and start winning. But I think that's a good point to get that national pride going and get a larger fan base to recognize some of these players. And follow them the other weekends of the month.
Okay. Just a couple things. Like you said, you're in the parking lot trying to get your golf outing in for the day, so I don't want to hold you up much longer. Just one observation, man. Rory actually communicated directly with his fans, showing some pictures on Instagram about his return. I was kind of shocked because, Rory is a little a newer guy, but I was kind of shocked to learn that he has his own private jet already.
Yeah, Nike's been very good to him. I'll say that. I know his deal with Nike, I think, equaled or topped Tiger's original signing deal. So, yeah, he's pretty big time with the sponsors, and that's how 90% of these guys on tour kind of make their money. Hardly anyone ever wins more money on the golf course than they do off in terms of sponsorships or contracts with those companies. But yeah, it's a nice life to have your own private jet at 25.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty. For American golf players, that's evidence to me that you can get paid, make a decent living in this sport. So maybe some kids should start picking up the clubs a lot sooner over some of the mainstream sports. Also, you mentioned Tiger. Actually saw that this was kind of his last bid, or the PGA Championship would kind of be his last bid to qualify for the FedEx Cup playoffs. I know you're a Tiger fan or supporter of him. Obviously he has to do well to qualify for the FedEx Cup. So you think that's going to happen?
I know for sure he's probably going to finish top 5 at the PGA to get into the FedEx Cup. I'm not really expecting him to win the PGA. I would rather see him not win. If he wins, he'll qualify. But even if he just qualifies for the FedEx Cup with, say, a top 5 finish, I think that's what's going to be interesting. Is guys take the FedEx Cup now much more seriously than when it first came out. They find it enjoyable, a little more competitive. It's a really great time to watch golf, and because it's going to be close, competitive, and just exciting to watch. And I'll be looking forward to if he qualifies, see how he gets how he plays in that competitive nature. Because I think he's starting to get a little bit of that back slowly but surely. It's a process. He's playing with a little more confidence. And when you play with confidence, your potential is, the sky's the limit. So he's getting his reps in. He's playing with a little more swag, and I think next year he's going to be much more of a contender for majors and other tournaments. I think this year's just a practice year and a prep year.
I will admit it did seem last week at the Quick and Long shooting the 66 and 68, I think, on days 1 and 2, and hearing some of his pressers, he did seem a little really relieved. I know he went out there and shot the high 70s on the Saturday and Sunday, but it seems like he was realistic about it, and he just wasn't altogether lost or just totally flustered with where he was with his game. So I thought that was a positive sign.
Yeah, I would agree with that. I think he's seeing some progress, and that's the thing, like in golf, as long as you're seeing progress, your game for 7 days a week. The
right.
Average fan sees Tiger Woods 18 holes a day, Thursday through Saturday, and of those 18 holes, you probably don't see every shot he hits. So you definitely don't see the practice and the effort, the gym work he puts in. So if he sees progress there, it's going to transfer to the course after, like I said the whole time, all he needs to do is get more reps in and mentally just clear his mind and get back into a state of mind where he was. It's not his swing. It's not his ability. He didn't lose talent overnight. It's there. It's just you got to build it back up. And, I took a year off from golf, too, myself. And when you do something like that, it's a dramatic drop in terms of how you play and how you know how to play. It's like you have to revamp the wheel to get
right.
back to where you were and remember the things you did. So I see his progress, and I know he does, and probably others do as well. But so I'm looking forward to next year and seeing how he comes out of the gate.
Okay. Last golf detail. I see Spieth has a chance to actually take the number 1 ranking from Rory. You think that happens before the end of this season?
I think it will. Because Spieth will probably play in about 4 or 5 other tournaments till the end of the year at least. So I think he'll overtake it. Whether or not it's this weekend, not quite sure. And that's kind of interesting is everyone's pretty much forgotten about the world rankings. When Tiger had it, it was all anyone talked about. And then
right.
when he lost it, that's when everyone was talking about it. So no one, I don't want to say no one cares, but when Tiger had it and when Tiger lost it, people cared and it was announced and it was publicized. But I totally forgot about him taking over number 1 until you mentioned it. So I think now they've kind of got away from that and everyone's more focused on wins and major wins. And actually, and I'm glad to see it, is Ryder Cup standing point. So, but right. I think he will. He'll take it over. I don't know if it'll be this coming up weekend.
Okay. And that's just what I was saying, kind of fed into my thought earlier, which was kind of a long build up to my question, but it's just American fans, we like to know, college football. While we might not care for the rankings through the non-conference portion of the season, once we get into the thick of things, that's how we market the games, top 10 teams facing each other on a Saturday. That's just kind of how we watch things. And I just think that's kind of been one detail that's kind of held back the sport from expanding recently is that number 1, like you said, we don't know who the number 1 is the last several years. And that was a luxury when Tiger was doing what he, when he was in his hot streak, because we knew who it was every week.
Well, I think from an American standpoint, unless it is an American, we don't care. I guess my short version of this is that we just need to get, I guess, for the sport to grow in a North American sense, because it's big international. It is. It's kind of like soccer and tennis, where it's more international in terms of popularity. I think more kids here in the U.S. need to get on the golf bandwagon and pick up the clubs earlier and play in high school and then go to college for it, because there's a tremendous amount of scholarships out there, and probably over 10,000